This video is sponsored by Blue Dot Impact, a nonprofit providing free, high-quality courses on the future of technology. Begin their courses for free using my link in the description. If you're around your mid-20s or older, odds are very high that at some point in elementary school, you learned how to write cursive. You were required to dedicate a meaningful amount of time, effort, and perhaps stress to learning the shapes of each letter, the way each connects to the next, and how to bring the end of a pencil or pen to create them efficiently and effectively. And you were graded on this ability. Odds are also extremely high that, since then, you've almost never needed to know how to write cursive. Outside of the process of learning it, and perhaps your signature, it was essentially all for nothing. And even signatures now are mostly done digitally. Before computers, typewriters, and ballpoint pens, cursive made sense as a primary form of writing. Most of what was written by hand, and with early writing tools, like dip pens and fountain pens, cursive was the most efficient and clean method, and became the dominant form of handwriting. Letters flowed together, and the continuous strokes prevented the blotting and scribbling that occurred when lifting the pen. By the early and mid-1900s, however, dip and fountain pens were becoming less central as typewriters and then ballpoint pens became increasingly common. By 2006, only 15% of students wrote in cursive when given the option to write in either cursive or print in the essay portion of the SAT. In 2010, cursive was taken off the Common Core standards in the US, deemed no longer sufficiently relevant to require teaching. Computers were now being used to write when pencils and pens weren't, and pencils and pens didn't require any special writing style to function well. Though cursive may be somewhat faster for handwriting, it certainly isn't faster or more efficient than typing on a computer. And for legibility and standardization, computers use print. Though there are some potential fine motor skills and hand-eye benefits to learning cursive, it isn't obvious how much more, if any, compared to just learning how to write in print. And although there is perhaps some nostalgic and niche value to writing and reading cursive, broadly speaking, there aren't any real obvious universal reasons to compel all students to learn and be graded on it. And yet, as of 2026, several US states have signed new laws requiring school districts to teach cursive writing in elementary school. This comes after several states throughout the 2010s also passed bills that legislated requirements for students to learn cursive. Of course, there's only so much time in a day, in a year, in a childhood, in a life. And so why would states and school districts require allocating time to something that is ostensibly obsolete? Something that's broad value is unclear and hasn't been standard in decades. A survey conducted in 2026 by Higher Education Policy Institute reported that 94% of UK undergraduate students now use generative AI in at least some part of their assignments. Interestingly, the survey also found that many students will now actually be encouraged or required to use AI in assignments. Roughly 12% of students report that they include AI-generated text directly in coursework. Similarly, a Harvard survey in 2024, led by AI safety researcher Gabriel Wu, found similar numbers in the US, also noting that 25% of students have begun to substitute attending office hours and course material with AI. And so, at the exact same time, children in elementary schools are being required to learn cursive, while adults in colleges are being required, or at least expected, to use generative AI. What could showcase more clearly the confounding inability of the modern world to understand and keep up with itself? The more fundamentally interesting question here, arguably, isn't whether the requirement of cursive in elementary school or the use of AI in academia is right or wrong, good or bad. The interesting question is, how do educational systems and institutions evaluate what they allow, teach, and incentivize? What should education prioritize? And how does its priorities and incentives affect the kinds of humans it helps form and the subsequent society those humans help form? We become what we behold. We shape our tools, and then our tools shape us, said American academic John Culkin. Right now, the ability to use and interface with digital technologies, like AI, is becoming, if not already, central to careers and many aspects of society and life. And yet, it's unclear why the use of many of these technologies in a student's education wouldn't be considered cheating based on most pre-existing understandings. But so too are calculators, search engines, spell check, and typing itself. And so, particularly in the modern world, technologies can simultaneously be a form of cheating in education while also being central to life outside it. What kinds of thinking and expression should actually matter and be prioritized then, and why? In a valley in Argentina, there's a cave known as the Cueva de las Manos, or the Cave of the Hands. Inside are walls covered with diverse ancient paintings. The cave derives its name from one of the most interesting and affecting of the kinds of paintings, known as negative hand stencils. Across the various sections of the cave, there are nearly 900 hands, each created by an individual human pressing their hand up against the wall and blowing pigment against it. Similar hand stencils have been discovered in various ancient caves across the world, from France to Spain to Indonesia to Australia to Africa and more. Most of these hand paintings are estimated to be anywhere from 10 to 40,000 years old. We don't know exactly why these paintings were made or what meaning they might have had to the various ancient groups and tribes who painted them, who, interestingly, never would have come in contact with each other. But we do know that each painting was created by a human hand and a human mind. We know that they are each distinct markers of a clear humanity, a humanity that seems to need to create, to coordinate, to symbolize and showcase itself on the walls of eternity. Without a single word, these handprints say, "I was here. I was human. I know of a self and a future. I care about a self and a future." Each of our hands, right now, tens of thousands of years later, would look no different on that wall if sprayed with the same pigment. The bodies and minds through which we experience reality have remained mostly the same as our Paleolithic ancestors. And yet, our daily realities are incomprehensibly different. As we have progressed through time and technology, through civilization and culture, our hands have remained the same, but they are less and less present in what we do and express. We are still ourselves, but less of ourselves are needed. This isn't necessarily a bad or a good thing. Like all things, it is both and neither. Every technology, wrote author and theorist Neil Postman, is both a burden and a blessing. Not either or, but this and that. But the question certainly remains, does it matter and how much when things like communication and art contain less and less of a visible human being? We have gone from hand stencils and paintings on cave walls to handwritten stylistic lettering to hand-typed pages to AI-generated text and images. With each shift, the hand is needed less and less, seen less and less. And now, in many ways, the mind too. Eventually, hopefully, we will be the ancient people looked back upon by confused humans not so dissimilar from us. And when they look upon our art, our creations, our forms of communicating and being, what will they see? What will they feel? Will they recognize us? Will it be the same humanity we see when we look into the cave of hands? Or will they see something different? A new kind of negative stencil of a new kind of humanity. We have seemingly pressed our psyches against the wall of the future and sprayed them with digital pigments. It's entirely unclear what those stencils will look like in time. It's impossible to even imagine. But it is possible to help determine their shapes and colors. It is possible to work to preserve what we care about. Because what we care about is what we will become. I had just recently finished writing the essay for this video when I was reached out to by an incredible nonprofit that's providing free resources that overlap with many of these same topics, questions, concerns, and goals. They're called Blue Dot Impact, and their mission is to help ensure the future of technology and AI go well for humanity, and they've been kind enough to sponsor this video. I personally find AI simultaneously incredibly fascinating and awe-inspiring, while incredibly overwhelming and concerning. I know I'm not unique in feeling this tension and confusion. Most of the media coverage and conversations around AI are either baseless hype or baseless doom. Very little of it actually helps you understand what's going on, let alone meaningfully participate. Last year alone, Amazon, Google, Meta, and Microsoft spent over $400 billion building AI infrastructure. For reference, the entire Apollo space program, adjusted for inflation, spent around $280 billion. So current annual AI spending is equivalent to multiple missions to the moon. Only in the case of AI, we don't really know where we're going. Part of the future being uncertain also means it isn't fixed and determined. It is and will continue to be shaped by those working in and around the space. Through high-quality comprehensive courses, Blue Dot helps you become more informed about AI so you can become more involved in shaping it in the future. Whether through engineering and computer science, or how it's governed through policy and law, or by helping parse and share information. And all their courses are completely free. No premium tiers and no upsells. You can get started today through the link in my description. Thousands have already gone through their courses, many of which are now working at some of the largest companies and government organizations in the world, making technology better for humanity. And of course, as always, thank you so much for watching in general, and see you next video.